Welcome to Protect and Grow with Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns of TJ Stearns Incorporated. Trust, respect, and results. TJ Stearns Incorporated focuses on comprehensive financial planning and benefits.
And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's Resource. For a common sense approach to planning with your money, your investments, and your retirement accounts, he is certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns, CFP, president and founder of TJ Stearns Inc. Tim, always a pleasure to have you on the program here, sir. And today's message is let's take advantage of some opportunities to protect what's important and identify some opportunities.
Peter, thanks for having me, and I look forward to kind of diving into this. I'm calling this part the sound approach to volatility. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like we've kind of received a do-over, right? A message from the heavens, or whatever you want to call it, that the market's actually rebounded a little bit. But it scared the heck out of us last year. So we need to learn from those mistakes, learn from and then, make it a better portfolios, more reassurances for us by doing things differently, and that's, I think right now is a great opportunity to kind of dive through a sound approach to volatility.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dig in. And as we talk about the different factors, the different considerations, the different strategies that you can implement to have that sound approach to volatility, ladies and gentlemen, remember that you are always welcome to be in touch. You do have the resource of Tim Stearns, CFP, and the planning team at TJ Stearns Inc. Office located conveniently in Arlington Heights, but they can meet with you in person there or virtually with the ease and the convenience of technology. They also hold classes throughout the area throughout the year. So a number of ways to be in touch. You can go to the website, tjstearns.com, or give a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194. So Tim, when we've got this opportunity, what do we need to do to have a more sound approach? Because I think a lot of people are very thankful that we have rebounded this year from the losses. There was a lot of worry toward the end of 2022, but what do we need to do or be thinking about now?
Well, I feel like a lot of people in 2008 said to me, oh my gosh, if that ever gets back to where it was before, I won't let this happen to my portfolio again. We go through 13-year bull market, which is outstanding, right? And then last year we hit the skids, right? The Fed dried up the money that they're pumping into the system. And what that does is that created a bear market, and people were feeling pretty bad about their portfolios. I noticed a lot of the do-it-yourselfers weren't spouting off about how great they are at picking stocks. So the first thing I'll say to you, if you're back to where you want to be, is realize that you are getting that second chance, and don't panic, remain calm, right? But with that comes the opportunity right now to do a plan, and have a plan. When I was little, we would do, fire safety drills, at my school, right? This is no different, right? So having alternatives to what your plan was that just lost money last year is crucial. And having a plan is so important. I would say about 1 out of 10 Americans have a plan. And that's what we kind of preach here, because last year our clients didn't freak out. They remained calm. They didn't panic because they knew we had a plan, and we did a lot better than the average. But I'm saying they knew that they could pay their bills because we had put a thorough, great dynamic plan together for them.
And the thing about that plan, Tim, is that you cannot do it in the midst of what you are planning for. Often I'm from down south, and we used to have the hurricanes, and people who had the wood to board up the windows ahead of time were able to do so and then scoot out of town. Whereas there were a lot of people scrambling to try to find that wood last minute, boarding up as the storm's rolling in, and their windows end up getting smashed in. You've got to plan ahead of time for the potential of that chaos or market volatility in this case.
Right. And that comes to my next point, is make sure you have accessible cash. When we do a plan for people, we make sure that they have, one bucket, if you will, of growth money, right? That if we need to take out some money more than the norm, we can get it out of there. So that would have a growth bucket, which would be in the market, but we'd also have inside of there a cash portion, right? So that they don't have to lock in losses as the market's down. So having a plan is also having maybe 3 to 6 months of your bills on the sideline, so you don't have to dip into your reserves that are in actually the stock market. The bills are being paid, right? Because we've got a fixed income product in there, whether it's we have a great fixed income annuity that we use quite a bit. We also have a company that we do. It's called Dividend Plus, and what they do is they actually they pay out about 6% a year. It's been outstanding. People love that, just for peace of mind, right? And they're writing covered calls and puts on that. That is very intriguing to a lot of people out there, especially after what happened last year.
I think a lot of people have not heard of strategies such as that, Tim. Pretty innovative ways that we can manage the risk of the market and build into the portfolio a little bit more stability, consistency, and having that reliability of some accessible cash.
Well, I was speaking to a person the other day, and she had said that, listening to the people that were pitching her was like listening to someone. She said she would rather eat glass. And the point is that a lot of these companies out there are still doing what they used to do, right? And they haven't changed with the times. So another question we get quite a bit is, if this sounds like such a great plan, why isn't everyone doing it? Well, a lot of these big firms don't want you to know about other fixed income products like an annuity or stop losses and that type of thing that actually takes active management, because they're on easy street. They're just taking their fees and not doing much for it. So I'm saying be informed. That's another problem that we see. We have some people that there's almost a information overload, right? They're on the internet. Oh, did you hear this? Did you hear that? I would say tune out some of that, but be informed as to what's going on out there. There's different ways to manage your money so you don't feel like you did last year.
Yeah. I think that companies, financial institutions, not immune, can get stuck in their ways quite easily, Tim. I mean, if you look at, for instance, Sears, right? They did a very good job in selling and marketing in retail, but times changed and they didn't put the .com after their catalog. Things evolved. They did not keep up with the times, and similar things happen in the financial and investment world. And that old grandpa's buy and hold portfolio simply does not cut it in today's day and age and time.
No, it does not. Last year, the buy and hold lost 16 trillion with a T. So if you're happy with that, then I guess stay the course. But I would tell you, you shouldn't be. One of the other things we've run into, and I will tell people to do this, make sure you're rebalancing. With a 13-year bull market, guess what? It took up a lot of the portion of where you wanted to have your bonds. And bonds did lose less last year, right? But still, we see these people having huge stock portions. They'll come into us and say, oh, I'm not a risk taker. One gentleman, 72 years old, he had 84% in stocks. And then the flip side of that is that I have people coming in who are all in cash. And and they're earning maybe 1 to 2% on the money. And the one guy, oh, I'm earning over 4.5%. Well, that's great. When and if a recession happens, those interest rates that you're getting on money markets are going to drop like a hammer. And that's another reason that you should be rebalancing and making sure we kid in class, what's in your wallet? Well, what's in your portfolio? Yeah. That's what I want to know.
Well, have balance, right? You have to have balance and then continually maintain that balance and rebalance. Going back to your statement about having accessible cash. Yeah, that's essentially important. From down south, when Hurricane Fran came through, having a little bit of accessible cash was important because power was out for weeks afterwards. And a storm can come through in the markets as well. Last year, in the grand scheme of things, was actually kind of a minor storm. We've seen much more significant economic storms hit before. So having some accessible cash, obviously a benefit, a good thing. But Tim, to your point, having everything in cash is not proper balance. You are going to be missing out on a lot there. So have the cash reserves. Yes. Have the emergency account. Yes. Maybe even have a little bit of emergency cash on hand. But in the grand scheme of things, we are losing money safely if there is too much in cash. So we have to have some other positions. And then, Tim, within those other positions, that's where the rebalancing needs to occur. And there are a few different types of rebalancing. And I know that a big one that you've talked about is time optimized rebalancing, meaning that there are specific time periods for specific portions of our money. And that probably needs to change and shuffle as the years and the decades of our lives go by.
Well, one of the things we talk about all the time in class is you cannot invest anymore like you're 40 years old. If you're a baby boomer and you're in your early 60s to in your 70s, you cannot invest like you're 40 years old. There's no way you can take a 2008 hit right now where your portfolio lost over a third, which is what we're seeing. Or even looking at the Vanguard 2020 fund last year that lost 15.8%. The 2020 fund is assuming that I've been retired 3 years. To lose 16% nearly in my portfolio while I'm taking money out more than likely is a problem. So you want to make sure that, sequence of returns risk doesn't bite you in the butt again. And that's why I'm saying we have a do-over right now. I would also say to those people out there that are still holding on to cash, make sure you're contributing. When the market's down like this, it's coming back. Yes. I think the market's going to go great guns this year? No. But I do think right now that there are certain things on sale. And that's why I would make sure that people are understanding, contribute to your accounts. You can move to some more aggressive strategies. That is, if you have a plan. You don't have a plan, give us a call and we'll sit down and see what kind of risk you have, what kind of risk you can take, and get a plan together that, we don't charge for our time because I want to pay it forward and make sure people have an actual plan.
Talking with Tim Stearns, certified financial planning professional. Tim Stearns, CFP, does make the opportunity available to you, ladies and gentlemen, for the Protect and Grow plan. That is the complimentary service that is the extension of this radio program to get the plan in your hands that helps you overview and optimize your investments, income, taxes, healthcare, legacy, the document that you can refer to say, yeah, I have a financial plan for good times and that will help me to remain calm, not panic, and make good decisions even in challenging times. And we do have a second chance here. 2022 was a rough year, but we are thankful that so far 2023 has come back. However, we have to be cognizant of the fact that we will see market volatility again. Where are we heading into the future of this year or in years to come? Well, there will be market cycles. You have to have a plan for both. That's what Tim Stearns offers to help you put together. Pick up the phone, give a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194. Tim, going back to your last point about making those contributions, I mean, that is one of the critical fundamentals that is going to help us be as successful as possible of an investor is don't ever stop making those contributions just because we see market volatility or downturns. Dollar cost averaging is a very powerful force for long-term success.
Right. And I mean, that's bleeding the money back in there systematically. If you're still working every 2 weeks, I love that idea. Dollar cost averaging carries the day. I agree with you. That being said, I also think that people should have preservation strategies, that you are not risking all of your money in the market. You should have some things that are non-correlated. What does that look like? Maybe commodities, maybe it's cash, maybe it's a fixed indexed annuity. It depends on what your situation is. But I find 99% of the people who come in here have all correlated assets, bonds and stocks or mutual funds made up of that. They don't have anything uncorrelated. So make sure you have a preservation strategy because the bottom line is you don't want to gamble with money you can't afford to lose. How are you going to pay your bills every month if the market is taking another hit like it did last year?
Yeah. And having a preservation strategy, Tim, that does not forego or give up on making gains or forward progress. That's where the balance lies, right?
Balance. That's the best word we've said on this show today. Balance. You can't have all your money in stocks. You can't have all your money in bonds. You can't have all your money in annuities, etc. You need to have a cornucopia of different investments to get through a retirement successfully. And guess what that entails? Having a plan. And I hit people over the head with that all the time because it's so important to me. The last thing you want to do is realize 30 years into your retirement that you guessed wrong. If you run out of money, I talked to a gentleman the other day. His mom was looking at Medicaid options because she didn't do a plan. She didn't have a plan. She was all in stocks and got beat up pretty good. She has dementia. You get the idea here. She didn't have any sort of a plan. Do not do that. Learn from other people's mistakes.
All in is rarely ever a great approach. I see the poker tournaments on TV, the guys with the dark glasses, right, Tim, and they go all in, and a lot of times that doesn't end up very well. So all
Right.
in the market, all in cash, all in on stock, all in gold, whatever the case is, probably not the best approach. Balance is important. And we're talking about these opportunities with Tim Stearns today. There are also different types of preservation plans, Tim. There are plans and strategies that will help you preserve your capital and your principal. There are also income preservation and protection plans.
Well, I think people are very concerned. I just met with a couple the other day that, he's retiring in the next 3 months. He's like, on that fourth month, where do I get my paycheck? Well, thankfully, we've set up a plan for him, and we'll turn on the income in the fixed indexed annuity that he wanted. That's part and parcel of the plan. So we make sure that people understand where their next check's coming from, because that's very concerning to the baby boomer generation, that they're going to run out of money. You know why? Because they were raised by people that lived through the Great Depression. So the biggest fear they have is running out of money. And I totally get that. My parents lived through that. My dad was born in 1928, my mom 1929. So I get that theory. That's why I tell people, come in, see us, and we'll get a plan together that'll help you sleep better at night.
Tim, do you run into a lot of people that don't know if they have enough and therefore are actually taking more or taking unnecessarily high levels of risk because they are uncertain? They don't have that plan in place that gives them that confidence.
Let's say this guy's name is John that I talked to the other day. He wanted to put all of his money back into stocks. And this is after he had told me to get him out of stocks in 2020 because the market went down. And he said to me, I'm not where I wanted to be. And I said, John, we can't take all that risk to go all in to the market unless we have active stop losses that are daily. And he agreed with me. He's like, you know what, you're right. Because he was going to try to take some high flyers like the Metas, the Amazons, the Apples. That's going to kill you. It's going to give you a heartburn and probably a loss is what I see. So why not I don't manage my own money. We have money managers that are institutional that have daily, weekly, and monthly stop losses that did excellent last year. There's no guarantees. I'm not saying that, but they've done really well. And most of them have been in business years, decades, so this is why I'm telling people, right now is not the time to double down or go all in, but it is a time to take a look and make sure that you have a dynamic plan.
So get a review. Another tip here for maintaining a level head during market volatility and taking advantage of the opportunity to protect what's important.
Right. And that goes along with, getting a review. It doesn't cost anything. I don't know why you wouldn't want to have another set of eyes. That's what we get a lot. People come in here wanting to know, hey, my guy didn't tell me to do my required minimum distribution last year and I got fined $1,000. That was the latest one. These people out there that aren't really being fiduciaries, we are a fiduciary, certified financial planning professional. That's all I do. Right. So that's important to make sure that people are getting a fair shake and a review of what they have going on.
Well, if you would like to talk with Tim Stearns, CFP, if you'd like to have a certified financial planning professional give you that second set of eyes, that review, pick up the phone and give Tim Stearns, CFP, and TJ Stearns Inc. a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, we've had a lot of do's, things that we should do in order to feel more confident, to realize the opportunity of this second chance, of this do-over in the market, and an action plan in place. But there are some things we shouldn't do as well. Number one, don't be greedy. Number two, don't try to time the market. It sounds like your buddy John there was a little bit trying to time the market.
I don't believe in timing the market, and people say, well, why do you have daily stop losses? If you get out, when do you know to get back in? We take care of all that. We have algorithms that will tell us when to get in and when to get out. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. But they do better than the buy and hold. I know that for a fact because my money's in the same investments. So I'm not trying to time the market, but I am being smart. One of the money managers said to me, not having stop losses is like driving your car without brakes. I completely agree with that. That is how we do things here. Dynamic investing is very important to us.
And of course, Tim, there are reasons to take risk, which is why we need to cover all of these items, all of these different issues and strategies to approach volatility, because we do need some risk in our portfolio, but there's also plenty of reasons why we need safety for a portion of our portfolio. Back to that balance we've been talking about.
Right. And that's why we're using investments that have, covered calls and puts. Covered calls and puts are options, and we're having options written on the portfolio. Make sure that we don't have a downturn like in 2008. Those are the things that we're doing. Checks and balances. To your point, making sure that we're not trying to hit home runs here. I always explain that to people. If we get some singles and some doubles, that's what I'm happy with. I will be the tortoise all day because the hare lost. If you remember that analogy. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do here.
It's kind of like, Tim, I hear a lot of people, well, the market's down and I can weather that. Okay, well, if the market's down 20%, do you want to take those years off the front or the back end of your retirement? And a lot of people don't really see it because it's those years in the future that are being affected and impacted by the withdrawals they are taking while the market is down. That sequence of returns risk is a real risk that people need to be aware of.
Secrets of returns risk early on in your retirement could be very damaging. And we have a great article that talks about that I'm happy to share with anyone who calls us. We can email it to them just to show them the example of, it's Jill and Bill, they're brother and sister, and one retires 3 years from the other. And it just shows the example of sequence of returns risk. And it's very surprising to me, whether I'm in class or I'm on the radio talking to people when they call in, they don't have a clue what sequence of returns risk is. Once you explain it to them, they go, oh, that doesn't sound good. No, it does not. And having a plan to mitigate the sequence of returns risk is key and clutch in the process.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, you need to have a plan in place. And right now we are looking at a gift. The market has rebounded for much of its losses from 2022, maybe not all the way, but given back a large portion of the gains. So what are you doing differently now to help to avoid that same feeling into the future, those same losses in the portfolio into the future? Now is the opportunity. It's best to put a plan in place ahead of time and not be reactionary. That's why Tim Stearns is here to remind you and to help you put that plan together. He's a certified financial planning professional, can look over all of your investments, your assets, your different brokerage or retirement accounts, and make sure that they all come together from an investment, income, a tax, a healthcare, a legacy standpoint to make sure that they are goal-oriented and time optimized. Pick up the phone and give a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194. Tim, there are a couple other strategies you had mentioned from the tax planning perspective amidst volatility that folks should be considering or looking at on a regular and ongoing basis. Number one, tax loss harvesting.
Well, yes, if you have some products out there, that, stocks or even a mutual fund that has really taken in the teeth last year, it'd be a great time to write off that, right? If it's in a non-qualified account, to get out of it. Get rid of your dogs, as they say. Trying to get rid of that stuff is absolutely huge.
And number two, Tim, something that you're helping people realize, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings on, is the tax liability on those retirement tax deferred accounts. You help people proactively to manage that tax liability and, in some cases, significantly reduce it.
Exactly. And we have an actual report that we can show people, what you have right now in qualified accounts, 401ks, 403bs, deferred comp, whatever you have out there that's never been touched by the IRS. We can show you that if you don't do some Roth conversions or some other vehicles that would be good for that, what your tax bill will be. It's pretty bad when you take a look at it. And you're looking at the opportunity right now that you have 2023, 2024, and 2025, when the income tax brackets are the lowest they've been since the 1920s. So these are opportunities. If your advisor has not talked to you about that, shame on them. We have a CPA that will help you go through that with us. Joe Urquhart is who we use for that, to see if that's a possible to do that. I'm not telling people to take millions of dollars and do conversions, but right now is a great opportunity depending on the circumstance.
Well, do you have a sizable 401k, IRA, or tax deferred account? And therefore, you also probably have a sizable tax bill waiting for you years into the future of tax bills. Each and every time you pull money from those accounts, whether you need to, choose to, or the government mandates that you do it, and they will do that eventually. So why not manage that proactively while taxes are on sale? If you haven't had that conversation, if you haven't seen how much you can save if you are a proactive planner, do you think hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your lifetime in retirement would be worth a call? Pick up the phone, give Tim Stern, CFP, a call, and he can run those tax scenarios and crunch the numbers for you. He can show you the strategies to save significant portions of that tax liability, keep more of your money. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen, being as efficient and effective with your planning, with your money, with your dollars as possible. That's the Protect and Grow Plan. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. Or you can visit online, tjstearns.com. tjstearns.com online. Tim, we always appreciate your time, the guidance and insight that you provide here on the program.
My pleasure, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Tune into Chicagoland Certified Financial Planner Tim Stern's full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.